Major funding for KPBS Evening Edition has been made possible in part by Bill Howe Family of Companies, providing San Diego with plumbing, heating, and air restoration, flood and remodeling services for over 40 years. Call 1-800-BILL-HOWE or visit billhowe.com. And by the Conrad Prebys Foundation, Darlene Marcos Shiley, and by the following. And by viewers like you. Thank you.
They lost everything in a record-breaking storm. Now they're planning to sue. Thanks for joining us. I'm John Carroll in for Maya Trabulsi. Today, residents of a Mountain View apartment complex announced their lawsuit against the city of San Diego. As KPBS reporter Melissa May tells us, this isn't the first time the complex has flooded.
A storm channel for Choyas Creek runs alongside the apartments at 4150 National Avenue in Mountain View. The 32-unit complex flooded on January 22nd, destroying renters' belongings. Attorney John Gomez is representing about half of the residents impacted by the flooding. He says the city of San Diego neglected to keep this channel free of debris.
We feel like folks that were displaced or harmed, that live in apartments, that are renters, deserve justice too. So we're here to help these San Diegans.
Gomez says he's considering a separate lawsuit against the owners of the complex, saying they knew that flooding could happen but didn't inform the tenants.
They were not told that this had happened before to this exact complex. And so they were unable to, make informed choices or decisions about whether they're going to live here or not. They weren't able to take precautions against this when it started to rain.
Choyas Creek flooded the complex in December 2018, and the owner sued the city of San Diego for damages. The city settled the case for more than $423,000. Elmer Pineda says his family is now homeless and blames the city.
We had lost everything. I even lost my TV, everything. I lost everything, couch, everything. Everything. I lost bed, everything. Everything gone. My car, everything. I don't have nothing.
His daughter, Maria Pineda, describes how her sister and two small children were trapped in the apartment.
It's a really scary thing. Not only that she almost lost her life on her birthday, she almost lost her baby's lives too. She had the baby in one arm like this, and she had to have a 3-year-old like this.
The law firm is collecting donations, including food, clothing, blankets, gift cards, and toiletries for those who lost their belongings due to the flooding. Melissa May, KPBS News.
This afternoon, San Diego Mayor Todd Gloria announced a plan to waive fees for storm-related repairs and reconstruction. It would apply to building and demolition permits, waste disposal, and recycling costs. City staff estimate the proposal will save residents $2.5 million. The plan will be presented to the City Council on Monday. This weekend, the city's local assistance center at the Mountain View Community Recreation Center will be open from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. both Saturday and Sunday. The 5 Marines killed in Tuesday's crash in the East County Mountains were identified today. Here's KPBS military reporter Andrew Dyer.
The Marines ranged in age from 21 to 28, all in the early stages of their military careers. 3 were pilots, Captains Benjamin Moulton, Jack Casey, and Miguel Nava. The other 2 were the youngest, helicopter crew chiefs Sergeant Alec Langan, who was 23, and Lance Corporal Donovan Davis, 21. The Marines were on a training flight back to their home base at Marine Corps Air Station Miramar from Creech Air Force Base in Nevada. Late Tuesday night, between Mount Laguna and Pine Valley, the heavy-lift CH-53 helicopter went down. An investigation into the cause of the crash is underway. Andrew Dyer, KPBS News.
A nurse has been acquitted of involuntary manslaughter charges in an inmate's death in a San Diego County jail. while jurors could not reach a verdict against a doctor facing the same charges. 24-year-old Elisa Serna died at Las Colinas detention facility in Santee. That was back in November of 2019. Prosecutors say Donnelly Pasqua failed to finish taking Serna's vital signs after she suffered a seizure and collapsed in her cell. Jurors found Pasqua not guilty. They also voted 9-3 in favor of acquitting Friedrich von Lintig. That was the physician on duty the day Serna died. Von Lintig will be back in court for a hearing to determine whether prosecutors will retry the case. The North County Justice and Equity and Justice Coalition released a statement on behalf of the Serna family. It says while they are disappointed, they will continue to fight for their daughter's memory. The statement goes on to say both sides agree on one thing, that the personnel and the jail system failed to provide life-saving care. The San Diego County Sheriff's Department also sent out a statement on the verdict. It says, in part, providing for the security and safety of those in custody and those working in their facilities is among the department's highest priorities. It also offers sympathy to Elisa Serna's family.
I'm Ariella Scalise, and coming up tonight, we're dropping down to the upper 40s. We're going to see a gradual warming trend here as things begin to dry on out. It will be pretty breezy at times with that offshore flow through our weekend, and then we're already looking ahead to the next system that could bring us some more impactful rain. You'll want to stay tuned. It's all coming up.
The rain seems to have subsided this afternoon and into this evening, clearing the way for the opening of spectacular new sports fields at San Diego High School. The fields are for students to use in baseball and softball competition, and they were funded with approval of San Diego voters. KPBS education reporter MG Perez joins us live now from the campus off of Park Boulevard. MG?
John, San Diego High School is the oldest campus in the county, dating back to 1882. Now, much more recently, within the last 16 years, San Diego voters approved bond measures that allowed the district to spend billions of dollars on revitalization of aging schools. We have just moments ago cut the ribbon on these baseball and softball fields that are the latest shining example of this work. These fields of dreams have finally come true for a community that desperately needed them.
Baseball is the heart and soul of some of the spaces on our campus, alongside with so many of our athletes, because they really represent our community so well.
The boys are led by head coach William Mercado, a San Diego High alum, who says he never left the baseball field.
There's a group of guys invited me to go hang out somewhere, and I didn't go. I came to practice instead that day, and they ended up, put away for a long time. Yeah, and it saved my life, and I never left the field since then.
Anna Sophia Ziegler is a senior on the girls' softball team.
It's totally different from the potholes in the outfield and the short little fence that we had and just the dirt around it and our dugout. It was just completely different to what it is now.
And now?
And now it's just an amazing field, and I just this is what I expected our field to look like, or what I would hoped when I got here, but now the dream came true.
Back live, we are looking at the boys' baseball team. They have not even played on this field yet. That first game won't happen for about a week or two. By the way, they are the Cavers, but for the last year, they've been known as the Road Warriors because there were no home games last year as work was being done on these fields.
MG, that is so nice. Beautiful fields there. I know the ribbon cutting event tonight was for the community, but I imagine there were some special guests there as well.
There were special guests. There is a gentleman by the name of Johnny Ritchie who back in 1948 broke the color barrier in the Pacific Coast League, playing for the Padres back then as the first African-American player. They called him the Jackie Robinson of the West Coast. His granddaughter was here at the ceremony today, John.
Wonderful. Thanks, MG. We're continuing our coverage of the 2024 primary election with a look at State Assembly District 77. It covers the coast of Carlsbad down to the southern tip of Coronado with roughly about 500,000 constituents. KPBS North County reporter Jacob Ayer gives us a look at who's running to represent them.
California State Assembly District 77 includes Carlsbad, Encinitas, Solana Beach, Del Mar, coastal portions of the city of San Diego, and Coronado. Democrat Tasha Berner has been its representative since 2022.
It comes back to my experience. I'm a mom, I'm a businesswoman.
Berner says her goals for the district remain the same.
My top priorities in my district are really around the environment, around ensuring that people have opportunities. And when I say opportunities, I mean, do they have good jobs? Do they have health care? Do they have a place to live?
Her challengers include Republican entrepreneur and financial advisor James Brown. His priorities are homelessness, housing, education, and the environment. Brown says he understands the struggles of poverty from his own experience.
I think that the issue with a lot of the politicians now is that they were never homeless. They couldn't even relate to being at the bottom. And you're just going to throw money at something and hope that it changes, rather than provide the opportunities to help people that are in the situation to get out.
Autism researcher Henny Cooperstein is the other challenger. Like Berner, she's a Democrat and says she's campaigning to provide a voice for the neurodivergent. She has autism herself. Cooperstein says she wants more financial accountability and transparency when it comes to government program spending.
If they're not publishing, successful outcomes, and that they don't have, if they have a surplus, then it needs to be legislated where it goes to. If they don't have a surplus, if they close out in a deficit, we have to see what's going on.
The top two candidates in the primary will go on to the general election in November. Jacob Ayer, KPBS News.
A reminder to check out the KPBS Voter Hub. That's where you'll find explainers on local races and Q&As from candidates to help you make an informed decision. Just go to kpbs.org/election. President Biden is facing tough criticism following a report released by the special counsel investigating his handling of classified documents. While the report revealed Biden won't face charges, it also took aim at his age and memory. As Julia Benbrook explains, it highlights the president's chief vulnerability in the 2024 election.
Special counsel Robert Hur laid out in detail how President Joe Biden mishandled classified materials, writing that FBI agents discovered documents in Mr. Biden's Wilmington, Delaware home. Hur's report noted the president's cooperation with the investigation and concluded the evidence did not support prosecuting Biden. When explaining why he didn't bring charges, the special counsel also wrote about Biden's age and memory, creating concern on Capitol Hill and beyond.
I mean, people from all over the world are going to read that. And it was basically one of the defenses was he's a nice man who's elderly and can't remember.
The report states Biden had frequent memory lapses during his interviews with investigators, including not being able to recall exactly when he served as vice president.
I know there's some attention paid to some language in the report about my recollection of events.
Biden, who is 81, immediately pushed back against those details in the report.
I'm well-meaning, and I'm an elderly man, and I know what the hell I'm doing. I've been president. I put this country back on its feet. I don't need his recommendation.
But during that same press conference, Biden misspoke, referring to the president of Egypt as the president of Mexico, a moment that undercut his forceful pushback against the special counsel's observations. Reporting in Washington, I'm Julia Benbrook.
The Coronado Historical Association is revealing the island's hidden African-American history. KPBS reporter Katie Hyson attended the exhibit ribbon cutting.
Most people think Coronado has just been this pure white enclave that had no black history. And when they come and see this, they're going to go, oh my God, there was actually a black community here going back to the 1880s.
Kevin Ashley says in those early years, Coronado's proportion of African Americans was 3 times the state average.
Some of the stories are inspiring, exciting, life-affirming, and some of them are as tragic as you could possibly imagine.
The exhibit is a hyper-local look into history that played out across the country, both triumphant and dark. Entrepreneurs, veterans, and civil rights leaders, redlining, minstrel shows, and murders. In one corner, Claudia Ludlow looks up at photographs of her family, Black Coronado pioneers.
I think the first night that I saw it, I cried for like the first 2 minutes. A lot of it is that what we didn't know, because our family, there was a lot of secret about our family and how they even got here, and Kevin was the one that opened that door.
She hopes people understand the fight.
How hard our ancestors worked for us to be here. We can't take it for granted anymore.
They hope to grow the exhibit and welcome anyone with a story from this community to reach out. Katie Hyson, KPBS News.
The San Francisco 49ers face off against the Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl this Sunday. It's usually the most watched telecast of the year in the U.S. Even if you don't like football, there is a little something more to look forward to. Amy Kiley has this preview.
A possible Taylor Swift sighting is one of many reasons people who don't follow football might want to watch the Super Bowl. Her boyfriend plays for the Chiefs, and she's attended 12 of his games this season.
It's been fun to kind of gather the Swifties in the Chiefs kingdom and open them up to the football world and the sports world.
Some ads this year feature reunions from TV hits like Friends.
Okay.
Can we not? 30 Rock.
So I hired body doubles to help me out.
Oh, Tina. And Parks and Rec.
I can have a blast anytime, anywhere.
And with anyone? Las Vegas is hosting the Super Bowl for the first time, and the American Gaming Association predicts a record of almost 68 million Americans betting on it. As for the performances, DJ Tiesto says he won't be at the game as planned. He cites a family emergency that's forcing him to return home. But
really giving my time here in Las Vegas an incredible button at the end.
Usher is this year's halftime performer.
I hope I get to play the halftime show someday, man.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
This weekend's Super Bowl is expected to break records for gambling, as Las Vegas, of course, is hosting the big game. SDSU's Miro Kopik has more on the money at stake in the Friday Business Report.
About 68 million people, about 1 in 4 adults in the United States, are going to be betting something on this year's Super Bowl. The American Gaming Association released that that number includes whether it's through legal outlets, online operations in other countries, or illegal sports books, equates to about $23 billion, a 35% increase in betting versus last year. And last year was already a record on betting on sports. They'll be betting on the score by quarter, who scores first, does Travis Kelce score a touchdown, how many penalties, how many sightings of Taylor Swift, right? CBS is going to be a huge winner because with such a larger audience, they're going to earn about $1 billion or just shy of $1 billion in the ads just between the coin flip and the end of the game, and another 300 to 500 million in the ads before the game. So overall, there's going to be a lot of people chewing their fingernails, hoping that their bets win, but the vast majority are going to lose.
It's been a decade since California first moved to ban single-use plastic bags. Now, a Democrat from San Diego County is proposing a ban on those thicker bags you can purchase at a checkout, usually for 10 cents. State Senator Catherine Blakespear says the thicker bags actually made our plastic waste problem worse. They're labeled reusable, but they can't go in your recycling bin. And in a landfill, they take longer to degrade than the thin bags. Recent storms have brought snow to our local mountains, giving a boost to some businesses. On the corner of Washington and Main Street sits the busy Miners Diner. It's full of nostalgic decor showing Julian's history. Although the snow has caused some road closures this week, owner Fred Dornan says customers are still trickling in.
This is typically our slow season, so when it snows, it brings a lot of people up. They make their money from tips, and this is a very good time for them. So we're like, we have to be running. This is when we have to be ready to go.
If you plan to visit Julian this weekend, here are a few things to keep in mind to help the town out. First, they ask you bring your own trash bags with you, as Julian has limited trash receptacles around town. Second, be aware of private property when you go sledding. And last but not least, don't forget your snow tires and chains. There will be checkpoints for them on the way down.
And let's take a look at our weather headlines here as we saw some lighter shower activity, but things are drying out here throughout our Saturday. And then we'll slowly see a warming trend thanks to our gusty offshore winds. We can see wind gusts 30, 40 miles per hour here through the weekend. And then we keep the quieter weather around, but we could be seeing a wetter pattern return as we head into late next week and into next weekend. Let's take a look at what we're expecting through tonight because things are pretty calm and quiet at Borrego Springs down to 41, a cold night in Mount Laguna 25, and we look into San Diego and it will be cool through tonight. Any outdoor plants, you'll want a coat, 48. As we head into the day on Saturday, things are drying out. Maybe we start to see more sunshine return after just some light showery activity that's been hanging around. Things look good to go as we head into the start of the weekend. Staying a little bit below the historical average, San Diego only up to 62, Chula Vista, you're only into the lower 60s, and Mount Laguna will only see 33 degrees for our Saturday afternoon. Looking throughout the day on Sunday, where temperatures may come up a few more degrees as we start to tap into a little bit of our milder trend here over the next couple of days. And you can see that in our 5-day outlook along the coast. We're only lower 60s for Saturday, but 65 as we head into the day Sunday. And we'll keep those mid 60s around Monday and Tuesday, even into the middle of next week, and still remaining dry. We'll be dry further inland here for our 5-day outlook, where we go from the low 60s on Saturday to mid to upper 60s as we head into the second half of the weekend and the start of next week. And then look at Wednesday. We're back to sunny conditions with a high of 70. If you've got some plans for the mountains, it's going to stay pretty cold here through the first half of the weekend, but then we'll start to see temperatures coming back up a bit, upper 30s for Sunday and Monday, and then it's not until the middle of next week that we get back to about 40 degrees. Wrapping us up for your 5-day outlook through the desert here, where things do still stay a little bit cool, but eventually as we head into next week, we'll be back into the upper 60s. For KPBS News, I'm Ariella Scalise.
Tomorrow marks the start of the Lunar New Year. Today, preparations are underway for the San Diego Lunar New Year Festival in City Heights. It features dazzling lanterns, folk and traditional performances, arts and cultural exhibitions, firecrackers, and a large selection of Asian food. There will also be a cultural village, which simulates the experience of a village in Southeast Asia. 2024 marks the Year of the Dragon.
They symbolize for the strength, the spirit, for the whole entire, not only Vietnamese community, but also for the Asian country. Our theme for this year is Be Kind.
The festival begins at 8 tomorrow morning and lasts through 10 tomorrow night. Admission is free. Speaking of performances, many Asian cultures celebrate Lunar New Year with varying traditions. KPBS arts reporter Beth Accomando explores the lion dance.
Growing up with a Chinese grandfather meant that my family got to celebrate Lunar New Year. My grandfather would tell us about being a boy in China and celebrating for 15 days with food, family, and of course, firecrackers. The ones he loved as a child were string firecrackers, made up of hundreds of little firecrackers braided together by their fuses. And when you lit one end of the braid, hundreds of these would explode one after the other. The firecrackers are supposed to ward off bad spirits and bad luck. But for a line dancer, the smoke and noise can be a challenge.
That's why we tell our performers to wear masks and wear earplugs as well.
Peter Kem is team leader and coordinator with San Diego Legendary Line Dance Association.
Purpose behind line dance is to ward off evil spirits and bad luck and bring in the good luck and prosperity to any individual or group. When people see the line dance, it's not just a dance, it's basically a Chinese martial arts form.
Line dances are a popular tradition in Asia during Lunar New Year, but you might wonder why a line, since lines are not native to China. Lion dancing dates back thousands of years to the Tang Dynasty, and a legend about the emperor having a dream in which an animal he deemed to be a lion saved his life.
During that time, people didn't know what a lion was, so they basically just went off on what the emperor saw in his dream.
That's why the costume for the lion dance is so stylized and spectacular. It's often bold red or bright gold with large eyes, fluffy rounded ears, a big mouth, and a flowing body. It's amazing to see a pair of dancers breathe life into what's essentially a large puppet.
And there's two positions. There's the head and tail. As a head player, your job is to portray the lion's expression, which can be anything from happy, anger, sadness, etc. As a tail, your job is to follow the head player's footwork, because whatever footwork the head does, the tail does with it, and being able to be synchronized in music. If you're doing stunts, the other jobs as a tail is be able to lift your partner up.
The result is a fluid, graceful, and energetic performance in which a lion might jump on tables, rise up on its hind legs, or prance around a crowd, all to very distinctive and vibrant music created by a trio of instruments.
The drums, which is the heartbeat of the performance, the cymbals, and the gong.
The head of the lion can be extremely expressive as the dancer operates strings and levers to wiggle the ears, blink the eyes, and open and close the mouth.
As a head player, your main role is to portray a strong, good expression and storytelling. So the way how I see it is like any form of dance. It's not just like synchronization with the music and coordination. You have to give the lion life. It's all storytelling. It has to be something that's captivating for the audience to understand.
The lion's head is made of bamboo, papier-mâché, and fabric and can cost $1,000. It can also be a challenge to work in.
When you're inside the costume, you have very limited vision. If you're a head, you mainly look through the mouth, and while at the same time you have to listen to the music, because in line dancing, it's a lot of multitasking.
It also takes a lot of cardio and strength. Being inside a beautiful, flowing costume can make spectators forget how much work and stamina it takes to perform multiple 5 or 6 minute routines in a row. Kem says people may also see lion dancing as something just for Asians.
We want people to see that line dance is for anyone, regardless of race, gender, or religion.
San Diego Legendary Lion Dance Association has been around since 2000, with male and female team members as young as 13.
Our goal is to preserve and promote the Chinese culture. We are very proud and honored to still continue this art, and we hope that we can inspire more people in the young generations to be part of the Lions community.
Lunar New Year is the perfect time to share and celebrate that culture and heritage. Beth Accomando, KPBS News.
Pretty cool. Thanks for joining us. I'm John Carroll. Have a great evening and a terrific weekend.
Major funding for KPBS Evening Edition has been made possible in part by Bill Howe Family of Companies, providing San Diego with plumbing, heating, and air restoration, flood and remodeling services for over 40 years. Call 1-800-BILL-HOWE or visit billhowe.com. And by the Conrad Prebys Foundation, Darlene Marco Shiley, and by the following. And by viewers like you. Thank you.